Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachahakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, the elders at Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations as always to the elect. And I wanted to do a quick video. As you can see here, this is a post from a day ago, which now YouTube is after 24 hours, these particular posts that brothers put up are disappearing because there's too much information coming out, right? So the powers that be are putting a cap, on the information that's going out. There used to be a time where, YouTube had an inbox, message boards, and all kind of ways where, information could be spread and people can link. Well, after we came onto YouTube, starting with, our apostles and elders and the other men, who were laboring at that time, from the time we came on to YouTube and start teaching and YouTube changed drastically. And it seems like every month, or every year, they're looking for a way to limit, information being spread. There was a time where you can go onto a brother's page and whatever videos he liked, okay, you would be able to see those videos. And, that's how information spread. There was a time with inbox, But anyway, nonetheless, this is a post from the other day I put up. And as you can see, it's a book. And I got this picture from a brother. And as you can see, the post is out of a book, all right, called The New World Order. All right. And as you can see, this book is by an individual by the name of Ralph Epperson. All right. And we're currently living in the N.W.0. Okay. It's not like it's coming. All right. We're in the building blocks of that N.W.0. All right. Which, as you can see here, it gives a few examples of what will be happening. And I believe this book was written, in the 80s. I don't know exactly, but as you can see here, it says the N.W.0 will include changes in the family. All right, which when you go back to ancient Rome, all right, the breakup of the family led to what? Spiritual decay, and more filth. And we're witnessing that here, whereas family is pretty much the building block of each society, and it's been attacked. Okay, it's been attacked via the powers that be, especially amongst Judah. All right. Now, it says the New World Order will include changes in the family. All right. Homosexual marriages will be legalized. And we see that. All right. And that vibration was pushed heavily under a guy by the name of Barack Obama, whom our people look at as one of their own. All right. And you have Christians, all right, who until this day idolize the guy. You go into a lot of these so-called black Christian houses and other tribes. All right. You see a picture of, either Martin Luther King, white Jesus, and then you'll have Barack and Michelle Obama. All right. Who are total abominations, man. All right. Total anti-messiahs. Okay. So most sexual marriages will be legalized. We see that. And remember, this book was written. We'll have to look it up. But it was written years ago. All right. And we're witnessing. All right. This very thing. Now, the thing is, the scriptures prophesied of these things way before this book was written, because that's the true source. All right. But we're just going here for a point of reference. It says parents will not be allowed to raise their children. The state will. All right. And we're witnessing that. Okay. Really, the children, we have belong to the state. The state at any point can confiscate your child if you instill particular, ideas in their mind against the powers that be, against this world. Right now, I was just looking, I believe it's in California, they're passing legislation to where if your child wants to change their gender and you don't agree, they can take your child from you. Okay, and these are the types of abominations we've been seeing. Children are pretty much at the forefront of a very wicked, demonic agenda. All right, flip-flopping, and all manner of evil, which we're going to show you. That's in the Holy Scriptures, man. All women will be employed by the state and not allowed to be homemakers. We see the idea of a woman, working for her household and that being her job, that has been wiped out, and it goes back to the feminist movement. All right. And our people ate it up. Okay. After slavery, here it is, we were doing all right, even after, coming out of some hardcore, crazy situations, we had families. We eventually, starting with the men, we build printing companies, movie theaters, flourishing, cities. Okay, we had our own news printing companies and many other things. All right. And that was off of the back of a family unit. All right. We taught the scriptures to our families. Now, things weren't perfect, but, coming out of a hardcore slavery, we were better off then than we are now as a nation. Why is that? Okay. So women will be employed by the state, and that's what they did, with feminism. They broke up the family unit. They gave the women, welfare and different programs through the state that took the place of the husband. The husband couldn't be in the house. All right. And then the feminist ideology was instilled into the mind of the women. And then, everything went, chaos, and there's a lot of men in these times who you see standing up against the ideology of feminism. And a lot of women don't understand why it's happening. Well, it's ultimately the spirit as to why that's happening. Okay. And the men had their fault as well, but we cannot take away from the brutal blow feminism was, because it took the women out of the house. Okay. And ultimately that was a so-called white woman ideology. And it's crazy that the white woman wasn't saying they don't need their white man. A white woman was pretty much saying we wanted to be equal. But for you so-called black women, it became, I don't even need the man. The state can be my man. The government can be my man. And eventually the man was pushed out. And that goes back to the scripture that says, no man could spoil, a good man's house lest he bind the strong man. Okay. Via policies and different things. And then he'll go spoil the goods. The goods are the woman and the children. And if you look at what you see today, that's the result, along with drugs, okay, and many other philosophies that were pushed into our people. All right. And if you took the woman out of the house who was supposed to be the first teacher, okay, well, who does that lead to teach the children? Okay. So when we were separated from Esau, we were better off. But Esau saw that. So he, all right, through witchcraft, had us to fight for inclusion. And then what happened? All right, they got to teach our children. Okay, and the rest is history. All right. So women will be employed by the state and not be homemakers. All right. And that's very, very dangerous to a family unit. Divorce will become exceedingly easy, and monogamous marriage will be slowly phased out. Okay. And divorce has become exceedingly easy. All right. And when you go into the statistics, the facts, okay, women, pretty much initiate 75 to 80% of the divorces. And it's literally going to be based upon what? The man having another woman or something like that. Now monogamous marriage will be phased out. You know, everybody's just pretty much, all right, living a life of whoredom. All right. Now, in our culture, men did have, all right, more than one wife. All right. But he had the means to do that. Okay. The lifestyles that we're living here in Babylon is just totally off. Okay. And the women, through that feminism ideology, said that, hell, we can live like the men. Because men are naturally, that's just the natural instinct of a man, all right, to want, more than one woman. I don't give a damn what anybody says. That's nature. You go to 90+% of the species have that instinct as far as the men. Okay. What makes you think is going to be different with the top, all right, with the top of the species on the planet Earth? Okay. But through what? A pact made that goes back to the garden, it all was predicated upon stopping Adam from ruling, because multiple wives means multiple families, all right, and ultimately the legacy of the man is passed into the earth. It's more than just sex. See, when our people hear that, all they think about is sex. And it's funny, real quick, you have Israelite women, who, when they have their platform, that's all they talk about is telling the men what they can and can't do. They're not telling the devil, rebuking these ideologies that have been pushed on our people. They're forwarding them. All right. You have a lot of Israelite feminist women who hide under the head wrap. But anyway, and I was checking out this sister that goes, she's a Muslim. She's off in her ideology. But when you listen to her, Crimson, I forget her channel. When you listen to her, she's doing and saying what you Israelite women should be doing and saying. But at the end of the day, we're under a curse. So you're going to have more that are into the devil's philosophies than actually pushing the vibration of Israel, which goes against the Western construct. You have a lot of our people who are still stuck in the West, okay, and want to link the wickedness of the West with the Bible. All right. They're really ashamed of the Eastern customs and how things are supposed to be. But that's all right. It's going to come anyway. Anyway, so divorce will become exceedingly easy, and monogamous marriages, all right, will be slowly phased out. And we see that big time. All right. Every year, every 2 seconds, there's a million divorces, man. Okay. Because people think marriage now is based upon pleasure and it's business. A marriage is the number one business of humanity. Okay. When the Lord blessed Adam with the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, that's why he gave him a helpmeet to form a union. All right. And then have children to pass on a legacy. All right. So I know I kind of went off on a little tangent, but it says the workplace, the government will become, and when you deal with government, it goes back to control of the mind. Govern, control, mente, mind. Okay. And the powers that be govern people's minds and idol worship and evil and wickedness and not the fear of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Therefore, you have a nation of people who are just totally wicked, and their minds are dead set on rebellion. Okay. This is like unto the days of Noah, and we're going to show you that. It says the government will become the owner of all factors of production. Aren't we seeing that happen? Okay. The middle class is being phased out. Ownership is being phased out. Okay. Remember, they say you won't have a damn thing and be smiling. And that's where it's going. All right. The private ownership of property will be outlawed. Okay. And that's they're doing that with the cars. They're starting to put the things in place. All right. For the full. All right. N.W.0. We're seeing that ownership is being outlawed. It's becoming a thing of the past. All right. Everything that you have will be given unto you and rented. Okay. By those who have hoarded. All right. The whole entire planet Earth into their own hands. As the scripture saying, Habakkuk, they heap unto themselves all people. Then it says religion, which your religion is ultimately what you do. When we first came in, Uh, we always had a saying that the Lord didn't give us religion. Well, the Lord did, in a sense, give us a religion, and our religion is righteousness, love, the law, statutes, and commandments, which you religiously do. All right. Your religion should reflect your beliefs. Okay. And we have a belief system. All right. And it's all through the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. All right. And we're starting to see that if you have an idea outside of the standard that's being pushed by the elites, okay, you're going to be what? Ostracized. As the scriptures say, he who standeth up and depart from wickedness is maketh himself a prey. So religion will be outlawed and believers will be either eliminated. And what's a form of elimination? All right. As the elder apostle Gabar was going into earlier, there are talks of bringing back ancient ways of executing people. All right. When you go back to the ancient Roman Empire, our people, both men, women, and children were suffering some hardcore deaths for being what? Followers of Yahushua. We were kicked out of Rome. There became a time where it was laws put in place that it was legal to openly execute followers of Yahushua. You see? And that mindset is getting ready to be put back into the earth, because everything that we stand for and preach, according to Revelation, the 14th chapter, the new song, is against what's being established in Revelation, the 13th chapter, with the image of the beast. As the scriptures say, when thou awakest, O Lord, which he's awakened through what? Putting the spirit on his prophets, thou shalt despise their image. Whose image? The wicked. Okay, so the two ideologies are going to clash, but religion will be outlawed and believers will be either eliminated or imprisoned. There will be a new religion, the worship of man and his mind. All right, basically the worship of man and his technology. And all will believe in the new religion. All right, as the image of the beast is now a digital. All right, it's Rome reborn, but it's now being forced and presented to you in a digital sense. And we know how that's going to be complete. Now, this is all foretold in the book of Wisdom of Solomon, the 14th chapter. We're going to jump there real quick and we're going to read this, and then I'm going to get it in the GNT. Okay, this is Wisdom of Solomon. All right, chapter 14 and 22. And I'm going to read through this, and then we're going to go to the GNT, which is a good book to have. Like we have the NLT for the King James. All right, well, also with the Apocrypha, the GNT, as a brother presented, is real good to read side by side with that. And there's particular wordings and how the Old English was written, to where there's particular scriptures you'll read. All right, and you'll get it, but the GNT, as we'll show you, will help you to further expound upon those things. But you do have to be careful with these other versions as well, because they do go off. That's why you have to, be spiritually discerned in these things. All right. And know when it goes off, because in a lot of these other versions, you go to Revelation 13 and 16, it says a mark on their right hand or forehead. And people take that and say, well, see, there's nothing that's going in you. So you got to know when it goes off or not. So it says, Wisdom of Solomon 14 and 22, moreover, this was not enough for them. Now, when you read this chapter, it's dealing with, all right, the results of idol worship. Okay, and it's going into all of these ancient heathen rulerships, even going back to the time of before the flood, and it's showing you what idol worship led to. See, what you're going to find out, all right, because when you read at the beginning of this chapter, it talks about how the proud giants perished. What did the sons of God do? All right, they were mingled among the heathen and learned their ways. But see, Noah stuck to the traditions, and see, we're trying to be in a lot of Noah, to where the legacy of righteousness is ultimately restored, okay, and kept alive through us standing firm, while the rest of our brothers and sisters are losing their damn mind. I mean, it's absolutely wicked, the evil that's going on. All right, so it says, moreover, this was not enough for them, that they erred in the knowledge of the Most High, but whereas they lived in a great war of ignorance, these so great plagues called they peace, while they slew their children in sacrifices, or used secret ceremonies, made revelings of strange rites. They kept neither lives nor marriages any longer undefiled, but either one slew another traitorously. And I'm going to break these down when I go to the GNT. So I'm just reading through it. Or grieved him by adultery, so that there reigned in all men without exception blood, manslaughter, theft, dissimulation, corruption, unfaithfulness, tumults, perjury. Are not we seeing all these things? Disquieting of good men, forgetfulness of good turns, defiling of souls, changing of kind. All right, which is the T in the alphabet. All right, trans. Okay. It says, and it's crazy. I was looking at a video, a debate between, Umar Johnson and this demon Cynthia G, brother Cent, and they had a damn trans gentleman, call him that. It's a word I got from the video somebody did. Trans gentleman on there speaking on behalf of black women, dogging black men, and I'm like, nigga, you a black man. That's the evil we're living amongst. And that all is a result of idol worship. That's all a result of our people taking a slice of the devil's pie. Okay? Changing of kind, disorder in marriages, adultery, and shameless uncleanliness. For the worshiping of idols not to be named is the beginning, the cause, and the end of all evil. All right, now let's go to the GNT and break these things down. Okay, the results of idolatry. All right, now when you go up, okay, the origin of adultery. Okay, and it goes into when you go up, it goes into what happened at the time of Noah. Wooden idols compared with Noah's wooden boat. Okay, and when you go into it, verse 6, it says, and this was how it was in ancient times when a proud race of giants was dying away. And when people see that word giant, they just lose their mind. Now, men were bigger before the flood, but giant in the Hebrew means Nepal or Nephilim. It means to fall away. Okay, in the ancient times before the flood, okay, the proud race of giants, it was a race of people. And what race is the Bible dealing with? The sons of God who descended from Adam through Seth. All right. When you get to the time of Noah, there was a big rebellion and a bunch of wickedness going on. But Noah, as his father said, was the one who was going to comfort them concerning their work. So those who did stick to the traditions, okay, it was through Noah that ultimately we would be comforted. All right. And ultimately the legacy of righteousness was able to survive the flood. Okay. It says the hope of our world escaped in such a boat under your guidance and left the world a new generation to carry on the human race. And that was through Noah. You see, a blessing was on Noah's wooden boat that allowed righteousness to survive. But what brought forth the flood was idol worship. You see what I'm saying? Wickedness. Jake living lives based upon other gods and the heathens and their gods. Basically, the knowledge of good and evil. The fruit that the Lord said not to eat. Our people ate those philosophies. And the result was what? Let's get the result of when you eat these different philosophies. Because the scripture said, touch not, taste not. Okay? When you get that in the book of Genesis, the 3rd chapter, what did the Lord tell the woman? Okay. Genesis 3:3. But the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, and trees are symbolic of nations. There's many scriptures we can get to show you that. The Lord said when we get restored, we're going to be known as trees of righteousness. In the book of Matthew or Mark, it says there was a vision. He said, and I saw men as trees. Okay. And the fruit of those trees is their philosophies, their ways. So it says the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, you shall not eat of it, neither shall you touch it, lest ye die. Okay, this is why the scriptures say, taste not, touch not. Okay. Colossians 2:21. touch not, taste not, handle not, okay, which are all to perish with the using. All right, is ultimately going into these different philosophies. Okay, and at that time, all right, it was ultimately wicked people of the circumcision trying to force, all right, the Israelite foreigners who came in, that they had to be ultimately perfect in the law. All right, but touch not, taste not. Let's see if we can get a precept to that. Yep, it goes directly to what? The fruit in the garden. Isaiah 52:11. Depart ye, go from thence, touch no unclean thing. Okay, go ye out of the midst of her. That's how we flee Babylon, by repenting. And see, the rest of our people are still eating those wicked philosophies that's going to lead to the second death, which is fire. The first one was the flood. All right, wherefore come out from among them, 2 Corinthians 6:17, be ye separate, saith the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you, which was the instruction we had from the beginning. We were supposed to be obedient to a particular way. Okay? So going back here, let's get this real quick. The book of Proverbs, I believe 23. Let's see here. Eat not. Let's see here. Eat not the bread. Let's see. It's I believe Proverbs 23. Salakia. So we're living as these heathen are establishing their N.W.0. It's all predicated upon rebellion of the Lord, and we have to separate while the rest of our people go with the flow unto fire, just like they went unto the flow unto the flood. Proverbs 23:6. Eat thou not the bread of him that hath an evil eye, neither be desirous of his dainty meats, which is his philosophies, his ways. For as he thinketh in his mind, so is he. Eat and drink, saith he to thee, but his heart is not with thee. They're telling you, take the charagma, take the jab, okay? Accept the alphabet agenda. Now, all of a sudden, our people are the face of these rebellions and wicked agendas, right? Again, when you go to this particular debate, let's see if we can pull it up. When you look at this debate, I'm not going to click on it. And this lady, the Cynthia G, is a complete demon. That nigga at the top right, okay, is a man at the top left. And the nigga is speaking. See if I can get a clip. Yeah. Our people have completely ate up. Nah, that ain't the that's not the debate itself. I don't know where the debate is, but that nigga at the top left where it says it's your fault, that's a man. And the nigga is on the platform speaking as if, and black men ain't this and black men ain't that, the black woman we've had to do. Nigga, you a man. And nobody on the platform batted an eye. Now, Umar, he came out with a video, which I posted it on 2 Through, said he didn't know. But I'm just like, this is complete confusion. Our people have eaten the fruit. And here it is. The black women they're this nigga Cynthia G is sitting up there. And Cynthia G is this nigga to the top left, the light-skinned chick. I guess she went through a bad experience with a so-called black. She just hates so-called black men and blames everything on them and saying that we're oppressed and the reason we don't have our own yada yada yada. The white man's the greatest. We need to get on his level. They're moving on, right? And just wait until the so-called white man, this system collapse. Let's see if he takes you with him. But they're sitting up there listening to this trans gentleman pretty much down black men, but they're not batting an eye. They're not saying, well, nigga, anyway. This is the kind of confusion that we have going on in this world, man. And our people are all in the midst of it. So eat not the bread of him that hath an evil eye. The bread is his philosophies, neither be desirous of his dainty meats. For as he thinketh in his heart, his mind, so is he. He's the devil. Eat and drink, saith he unto thee, but his heart is not with thee. The morsel which thou hast eaten shall thou vomit up and lose thy sweet words. And the sweet words, the law, statutes, and commandments. Now going back here, we'll finish it up. Okay, because the scriptures talks about real quick, as in the days of Noah. Okay, Matthew 24:37. But as in the days of Noah, so shall also be the coming of the Son of Man. For as in days were before the flood, they were eating, drinking, marrying, and giving into marriage, just all manner of lewd sex, drinking, eating, showing you it wasn't angels. You mean an angel go jump down from heaven and come down to the earth and eat and drink and be married? No, men in the flesh and women in the flesh do that until the day that Noah entered into the ark. See? So when you deal with this chapter, okay, the result of idol worship, okay, let's get verse 22 as we just read in the King James Version of the Apocrypha. Now we're in the GNT, the results of idolatry. One thing led to another. It was not enough to be wrong about the knowledge of the Most High. Niggas ain't, in these people, period, they're not happy with just the fact that they're wrong about the Most High. They're taking it further. They lived in a state of evil warfare. Okay, and this is that N.W.0. We just showed you in that book that this is what the writer said would be happening. But the Bible says it better. They lived in a state of evil warfare. They were so ignorant that they called it peace. Niggas really think that this is peace. All of the hatred and the gunplay and the rebelliousness and going and chopping off your rod, that's peace. And niggas are marching for all of these wicked agendas as if it's the right thing to do. It's the better choice. And a lot of niggas talk about how the old way is played out. We need something new. We don't need to look into the older time. No, nigga, yes you do. The scriptures say, seek ye the old paths. All right? Because we didn't have as much confusion as diseases and disorder in marriage and all of the stuff we have now. So it will behoove you to look back at the ancient way. Search the ways of your fathers. All these stupid niggas talking about the ancestors. But look how they live. Anyway, they murdered their children in initiation rituals, which that happens big in this world. And see, this was going on amongst those Canaanites. Okay, this was going on amongst those, going back to the Sumerian Babylonian culture. And this was damn sure going back at the time before the flood. Okay, this is that wicked fruit that Jake ate. Okay, and our women, okay, as well. Okay, back then. That's why I said the woman was in transgression first, Eve. Okay, and then what happens? All right, they fool the woman's head up with all of this madness, and then men try to fulfill, because a man's glory is the woman. So the men are gonna simp and say, well, we need to be like the white man tell the woman we need to be thugs, goons, soft, effeminate, through, lewd, disrespectful, nasty. And look at the end result as you go out into the world. All right. Absolute madness. This is why we're calling and crying to the Lord to stop this madness. Okay. The 187s. We can't say it, but the A to the B to the O to the R to the T to the I to the ONS. Those things that people, women are just screaming and growling. I'm talking about they're growling to do those things. That's all a part of idol worship. Those things, everything, all of these behaviors, including the whole trans thing. All right, men dressing as women and women dressing as men. That goes back to idol worship. As a matter of fact, let's go here and let's. No, that ain't what I want. Let's type in. What's that? Deuteronomy. Let's see here. Clothing. How is that? Where is that? Deuteronomy 23. Where a man is not supposed to wear. Let's see here. Let's look it up here. Where is that in Deuteronomy? Matter of fact, let me see. Because you have the law where pertaineth. Let's. Real quick. Yep, Deuteronomy 22, Salakia. When you get Deuteronomy 22 and 5, the woman shall not wear that which pertaineth to a man, neither shall a man put on a woman's garment, for all that do so are an abomination to Yahweh. Now, when you go into the commentary, let's see here. Let's just get to the point. Yep. It being very unseemly and impudent and contrary to the modesty of her sex. Okay. And there shall not be upon her any instrument of a man, any utensils of his which he makes use of in trade or business. You got a woman with a hammer. And see, what the heathen would do is the women would put on the man's armor, and the woman would put on the man would put on the women's clothing, and the woman would put on the man's armor for the army, right? That was how they honored a particular god, okay? It says, when her business was not to do the work of men, but to take care of her house and family, and so this law may be opposed to the customs of the Egyptians, as it is thought from whom the Israelites were lately come, whose women, as Herodotus relates, an historian, his name Herodotus, used to trade merchandise abroad, and we're in Egypt. How about that? And women's liberation goes back to Egypt. Women having a say-so in marriage and all of that stuff that you women are ultimately enjoying the benefits, it all goes back to Egypt. And a lot of you Israelite women who think you in this truth, you take pride in those things, and you forward that women's lib mindset amongst Israelites. But the Lord sees you anyway. It says, while the men kept at home, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, it was like that in Egypt. Okay, let's see here. While the men kept at home, and the word also signifies armor. Okay, renders it, and so here forbids women putting on a military habit and going with men to war, which we see that big here in America, right? That all goes back to idol worship. You wouldn't think that the smallest things that you think are just normal part of life, it all goes back to idol worship. It says, as usual with Eastern women, and so Maimonides, by putting a mitre or helmet on her head, clothing herself with a coat of mail, in like manner, Josephus explains it. Take heed, especially in war, that a woman do not make use of the habit of men, or a man that of a woman. See, everything has been turned upside down. Neither shall a man put on his woman's garment, which would betray effeminacy and softness of unbecoming men, and would lead the way to the way of many impurities, by giving an opportunity of mixing with women, and so to commit fornication and adultery with them. All right. And to prevent which, and to preserve chastity, this law seems to be made. And since in nature a difference of sexes is made, yada, yada, yada. But when you go into it, there's another book. Okay, here it goes. I'm going to just hit this real quick. I'm going to just get to this point right here. Let me see if I can highlight it. Right there where it should. It says, it is commanded that a man should wear a woman's garment colored when he stood before the star of Venus, and likewise that a woman should put on a coat of mail, warlike armor when she stood before the star of Mars, which he takes to be one of the reasons of this law. See, these laws we were given, okay, were set so that we can be separate from the heathen who did these things. But you got niggas telling our people they don't have to keep the laws. Anyway, let's finish this off. The results of idolatry. All right, I'm at verse 23. They murdered children in their initiation rituals, celebrated secret mysteries, inhaled wild ceremonies, orgies with unnatural practices. And we see all of these things happening in today's society, and they're just normal. Women are going on, particular shows talking about, I had 3,000 men. I've been with 2,000 men. Men, all right, are talking about, yeah, I used to be with men, but I'm married to a woman now. This is the kind of, and men doing orgies, running trains. Don't you know all of these behaviors are tied to idol worship? There's a god of orgies. Somebody type it up and put it into the comment section. If whoever, the god of orgies. What is it? Dionysus is one of those gods. All of these things. But that goes back further to these other gods, because what the Greeks and Romans did was just take the philosophies and gods of, ancient cultures, going back to, the Babylonians, the Egyptians, and put their spin to it. Anyway, they no longer, verse 24, they no longer kept their lives or their marriages pure. And we see that happening. There is no innocency in the earth. There's no fear. And brother's been sending around particular videos of judgments that's happening amongst, other tribes and, Latin countries and amongst Benjamin. And it all is centered when a woman commits adultery, cutting their heads off. See, that's why you were stoned in our culture if you did these things, so that others may fear. But now everybody has a freedom to do as they will. This was the behavior before the flood. Okay? It says a man might kill another by an art of treachery or cause him grief by committing adultery with his wife. Do not we see these practices being practiced in the earth? This is the N.W.0. And through that confusion, they subvert your soul, and then eventually they bring an order. Same thing Nimrod tried to do. Okay? They get you so caught up in your lust that you don't understand that your rights are being stripped away from you. All right? It says everything was a complete riot of bloody murder, robbery, deceit, corruption, faithlessness, robbery, deceit, corruption. Don't we see all of these things being forwarded in the earth? It all is a result of idol worship. Okay, and I plan on this being a 20-minute video. But y'all know how I do it, man. It's all the spirit. All right. It says faithlessness. Nobody has faith. Nobody's rooted. Even you Israelites, you're not rooted. Leaving all these weird comments. Look, the end is here, man. The new song is being sung, homie. We ain't got to remix a goddamn thing. Okay? And nobody has faith. Outside of the elect, it says disorder. All right. And everybody hates order. Our people look at order as slavery. Falsehood. That's why you have women basically when the talk of being obedient or being submissive to a husband comes up, what do they automatically bring up? Slavery. Oh, man. And order leads to what? Cleanliness. All right. A better world. It's a sacrifice. It says falsehood, harassment of innocent people. All right. And we see that happening. Didn't they say in that N.W.0, if you thought that you were going to be practicing one religion, it's going to be outlawed. OK, people who have opinions that go against the powers that be, they're harassed. Look at what's happening. Now, Kevin Samuels, Andrew Tate, they wasn't in the truth, but they have ideologies and mindsets that can actually help. But what do our people do? What do the world do? Ostracize them, condemn them, take clips of things that can be taken out of context and shut them out. Okay? And those are just small examples. All right? But then if Little Boosie gets killed, all these rappers, we lost a real one, man. So this is a complete bloody riot of wickedness, harassment of innocent people, ingratitude, moral decay, sexual perversion, broken marriages, adultery, and immorality. The worship of idols whose name should never be spoken, including Jesus Christ, is the beginning and the end and the cause and the result of every evil. People who worship them lose control of themselves in ecstasy or pass off lies as prophecies or live wickedly or break their word without hesitation. They don't give a damn. They tell lies under oath and expect no punishment because the idols they put their trust in are lifeless. See, in the world we live in is all centered around these things, man. Okay? So I just wanted to do a quick lesson, but it ended up being a little longer, but hopefully y'all are edified. But as you can see, all of these things that are synonymous with the N.W.0, we see them being practiced, and it's going to lead to fire. Okay, see, the first death was the flood. Okay, let's get that in 1 Peter 3. Second Peter's 3, Salakia. 2 Peter's chapter 3 and 3. Knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers walking after their own lust, and saying, where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were before the creation. For this they are willingly ignorant, all right, that by the word of the Most High, the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out in water and in water, whereby the world then, being overflowed with water, perished. See? And let's read the NLT. And by the same word, the present heavens and earth have been stored up to fire. Okay, so the same BS and madness that was going on, all right, before the days of the flood, we see them happening now. Okay, and fire is going to address it this time. Lord willing, we're delivered. Shalom.